Hello, and welcome back to our channel for week 15 of the Sideline Spice Power Rankings winners and losers. Brought to you courtesy of the boys at the Vault Studio. I'm Ryan. Luca, welcome back. How you doing this week?
It's been too long, 2 weeks absent. I've been missing the boys. I've been missing these videos, but I'm back and raring to go to finish off this season strong.
And it's nice to have you back. I don't know about you, but I'm excited to have you sitting across from me once more as we present our standout risers and fallers from this week's consensus Sideline Spice Power Rankings. As always, at the end of our video, check out the link in the description below to find our complete rankings, and please have your say. But let's get right into it with our biggest winner of the week.
Yeah, all right. So biggest winner of this week has to be defending Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, Ryan. So I think you've got a lot to say about them. I know they hurt you, broke your heart last year, but you've got to give credit where it's due, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, what can you say about beating a Super Bowl favorite Los Angeles Rams team in LA 30-23 to also keep your playoff hopes alive and really earn that free place rise to number 15 in the rankings? This was another chapter in the story of Super Bowl MVP backup quarterback Nick Foles, who taking over for the injured Carson Wentz this week, passed for 270 yards and led the Eagles to 17 straight points in the third quarter before sort of helping them survive the Rams' late rally attempt with the help of 3 rushing touchdowns throughout the game, 2 from Wendell Smallwood and 1 from rookie Josh Adams. The Eagles' defensive old also did their part, picking off Jared Goff twice and really hounding the Rams all night long. They also got some assistance from the Rams by way of a fumbled punt return that was recovered with only 2:50 left to play. But that won't stop the Eagles from deservedly celebrating their most impressive and important win of the season over one of their conference's top 2 teams. The Eagles host the Texans next week and remain a shot at a playoff spot at only 1 game behind the division rival Dallas Cowboys with 2 games remaining.
Yeah, the Eagles have managed to make one of the most boring divisions in the NFL exciting again in one fell swoop. So, I mean, big shout out to them for that. I'll actually be paying attention to the NFC East again this season. One team that's not short on excitement at all is our second biggest winner for the week, the LA Chargers. Now, I don't think they were technically our second highest riser, but we have a rule, like if you're close to the top, we weight positions risen, and rising 2 spots from 4 to 2 is a big deal. Beating the Chiefs at Arrowhead, even bigger deal. Phillip Rivers, MVP candidate, so completing almost 70% of his passes on his year and quietly throwing his way to a 31-8 touchdown to interception ratio for most informed team in the NFL at this point of the season. I personally believe that of all the top teams, they're the only one that has a top-tier offense, defense, and special teams, which means they're well equipped to win home or away, and they're built for playoff football. Only thing slowing down this team at the moment is injury, with Keenan Allen, Melvin Gordon, and Austin Eckler all out. And possibly not having home field advantage in the playoffs. But if any team's built to overcome being a wild card, it's this team. So they're playing my Baltimore Ravens in LA next week, which is a real big game because it not only has implications for the AFC West, but also the AFC North and the wild card race too.
Yeah, definitely. It was a huge win getting up over the Chiefs at Arrowhead this week without all of those players that you mentioned, Allen, Gordon, Eckler. But you feel even if once you get to the playoffs, they really do need those players back and firing on all cylinders to really sort of play to the potential that they clearly have.
Yeah, agreed. They're not going to win anything if they don't have some of these key players back. Anyway, take us to our biggest loser, Ryan.
Where one NFC East team must be our biggest winner, so must one NFC East team be our biggest loser. So welcome the Dallas Cowboys. After spending multiple weeks in the winners column here at Sideline Spice, they come crashing back down to earth by virtue of a 23-0 shutout defeat at the hands of the Indianapolis Colts, consequently falling 4 places to number 13. This was a day that the Cowboys' much admired defense and surging offensive late failed to live up to the precedent set in recent weeks on either side of the ball, really. It presented a chance for the Cowboys to clinch the division title, but they really sort of just crumbled under the weight of that expectation. Elliott did his part, running 18 times for 87 yards, while also catching 7 passes for 41 yards. But without any assistance from the rest of his team's offense, Cooper contributing 4 catches for 32 yards by way of Dak's 206 yards and 1 interception on the day. The offense was arguably, however, the lesser of the two evils on the day, as the defense allowed a career game from the Colts running back Marlon Mack, who finished with 139 yards rushing and 2 scores. The first 100-yard rusher the Cowboys had allowed since Week 9, which prior was also ranked number 3 against the run league-wide. So the failure to get anything going against the run really enabled the Colts to take advantage of every miscue, whilst preventing the Cowboys from getting anything going on offense. Up next, the Cowboys get another chance to clinch the division when they host Tampa Bay, a much more sort of favourable matchup for them, you'd think. But let's hope they can rise to the moment this time around.
Yeah, I think the biggest killer for the Cowboys was an inability to finish drives early. Their first 3 drives actually got double-figure number of plays off, and they didn't even get a field goal or 3 points to show for it. Usually, if you're getting 13-play drives, you're at least getting a field goal. But I think the closest they got to scoring was 1 field goal attempt, which they subsequently missed. And I mean, any good NFL team is going to make you pay for that level of inefficiency.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, on to our next loser, the Detroit Lions. So they're down 4 spots to 26 after losing to Buffalo 14-13. Now, I've been off the Detroit wagon all season long. I've consistently had them ranked the lowest of my colleagues, and for good reason. This team makes me feel absolutely nothing in either direction, to be honest. They're apathy personified. Aside from their trademark win over New England earlier in the year, I don't think they've done anything in either direction of note. I thought the Bills would win going in because I thought the Bills' defense would be too good. And although it was close, I was ultimately proved right in the end. I will say this, that the Lions' offense has been ravaged by injury. Marvin Jones being on injured reserve is not going to help matters. Kerryon Johnson, being out as well, stifles the running game. But Matthew Stafford has seemed to have regressed. I think he's on pace for his first full 16-game season under 4,000 yards of his career. He hasn't been the touchdown throwing machine that we've been accustomed to over the last 3 or 4 years. And the whole Lions team has struggled as a result of that inadequacy. To their credit, the defense has kept 4 of their last 5 opponents under 24 points. Kenny Golladay has been one of the few bright spots for them this season. Has been a monster. Went 7 catches, 146 yards. And they can actually play spoiler next week. They're at home versus the Vikings, who have a tenuous group on the 6th seed in the NFC. I think they're half a game ahead of the Eagles. And if you're not going to make the playoffs, the next best thing is causing a division rival to miss it. So big game for the Lions.
Yeah, definitely. It's a weird first season for Matt Patricia. Like, a lot of the talk of thinking whether he'd bring any of that sort of element of the Patriots system with him and sort of develop that sort of culture within the Lions. But then again, they're still sort of just that fringe team that doesn't really show you anything too good or too bad, but is just sort of average despite some good players.
Yeah, I agree completely with that assessment. All right, so this week, no Luca loses it. I'm a pretty calm boy. I've had 2 weeks off. I've had time to relax. We are at the end of the season, so instead we're going to give you our top 10 and a little bit about each of them. So, Ryan, kick us off with our 10th ranked team.
I think you've got number 10.
That's right, I do have number 10. I didn't have that open. So I'll kick us off with our 10th ranked team. Let's do this again. I think I just secretly didn't want to speak about them, but the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, statement win against their biggest nemesis historically, toppling the New England Patriots 17-10. Jalen Samuels running for 142 yards. Defense came up big in the clutch, picking off Tom Brady to win the game in the 4th. So up 2 places to 10.
Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson got his 4th win in 5 starts, I think it is, and the Ravens are rolling. I don't think any team would want to face this defense and this sort of completely different offense to any other team in the playoffs. And they've jumped 2 places to number 9.
So the Indianapolis Colts next up. So 1 second. My thing just froze. There we go. So they shut out a red-hot Cowboys team, as Ryan mentioned before. They've actually had the best scoring defense in the NFL over the last 2 months of the season, giving up 15 points a game on average and going 7-1 over that span. And now they've discovered a running game too to complement Andrew Luck's arm. So they're up 2 spots to 8.
New England Patriots. Are they too high? Possibly. But I always like to think until someone beats them in January, the burden of proof lies elsewhere. But 2 losses in a row is 2 losses in a row. And as such, they've fallen 1 place to number 7.
Next up, we have the Houston Texans. So they're back in the winner's circle after toppling a surprisingly resilient Jets outfit behind DeAndre Hopkins, erupting for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. Wish you did that earlier for my fantasy season. Up 1 spot to 6.
Chicago Bears, division-clinching win over the rival Green Bay Packers this week, 1 week after handing the Rams only their 2nd loss of the year in equally, if not more, convincing fashion. Firmly number 5 in the rankings.
All right, next up we have the LA Rams. So the team I've had number 1 for the majority of the season have admittedly looked very shaky as of late with a home loss against the struggling Philadelphia Eagles outfit. Goff is absolutely struggling in life without Cooper Kupp, posting a 1-6 touchdown to intercept ratio over the last 3 weeks. I'm sure he's sending him many care packages. So they're down 1 spot to number 4.
Kansas City Chiefs, tough loss to a Chargers team that they should have beaten. Cracks seem to be appearing in the Andy Reid offense, especially with the absence of a dominant run game, despite the best attempts of Mahomes. But as such, they've fallen 1 place to number 3 as a result of the team above.
Which is the LA Chargers. So my personal number 1 in my own rankings, the most informed team in the NFL after doing the near impossible and beating a great Chiefs team at Arrowhead. As I mentioned before in my speech, I believe they have the most complete roster of all the elite teams in the NFL, and they look like a legitimate Super Bowl threat, health pending. So up 2 spots to number 2.
New Orleans Saints. It's got to be nice up here at the top. It's not always pretty, as you showed this week against the Panthers, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a team that stands a chance against the Saints in New Orleans in the playoffs. And this win got them 1 game closer to guaranteeing that fact. You can't argue with that.
No, you can't. Although, as I mentioned to you earlier on the phone today, a Super Bowl for them will almost be an away game, seeing as it's in Atlanta. So that'll be interesting to see what that's like if they do make it that far. Anyway, that's all we've got for today. So I hope you enjoyed our recap of the biggest winners and losers and the different format. We'll probably be sticking with this going forward now that we're firmly at the point end of the season. As always, check out our complete rankings on either the Sideline Spice Facebook page, Instagram, or our website. And don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button and give us your thoughts and feedback and join the discussion. We're not always right. We don't have all the answers. So we'd love to hear alternate viewpoints and different opinions. That's what this is all about. That's what football's about.
In fact, we're frequently wrong. Cheers, guys.
Yes, we are. And on that note, catch you later.